Welcome to the House Files, a podcast about building a triplex in Portland, Oregon, which primarily exists to talk you out of doing it. And I think this episode might do a pretty good job of that. Let's just jump right into the updates from this week. Things are coming together pretty quickly now. We already have now all the drywall done. It is all finished, mudded, and even the first coat of primer is done. And it's looking like a house in here. They've been working on the doors and trim now. This is unit A. So this is the basement unit, and it's evening right now. So it's definitely looking like a basement. We'll talk more about some paint colors soon, which will, I think, help this look a little better. But the trim is looking really good. The doors are looking great. And it's really exciting to see it come together. But this would not be a proper House Files episode without a little bit of drama. So far, all the issues we've had with framing and whatever in windows have been relatively easy to fix just because things were moving so slowly, but things are moving fast now. Like, if you just look around, they're just cruising right through this. They want to start painting this next week. And a couple little problems popped up. So let's take a look over at the kitchen, which is the first of the problems. So they've been working on installing the cabinets, which are looking great. It's looking like an actual kitchen now. We've got our uppers and lowers. We've got the fridge pocket over there for the fridge. We've got the stove and microwave over here. This is the gap for the dishwasher. The sink goes here. We're going to put a little like shelf or something up here, not a cabinet above the sink. So it mostly went according to plan. We got the cabinets have been sitting in storage. We've been paying way too much money just to store the cabinets until we've been ready to actually put them in. But things went together mostly well, except for one small detail. Up here, above the stove, we've got a cabinet on the left and there's a cabinet on the right. That is a 12-inch cabinet, so tall and skinny, and it's supposed to be a 12-inch cabinet over here. One of the things they do when planning for the kitchens is leave a lot of this kind of like wiggle room. Like this cabinet intentionally does not go all the way up there. That cabinet intentionally does not go all the way to the wall. There's going to be a cabinet here to fill in the gap. And we have a similar situation here where this is the 12-inch cabinet is supposed to leave a little bit of a gap there. And the reason for that is because like when you build this stuff, the walls never come out exactly as planned. So the distance from that wall to that wall on the plans is one thing, and then once it actually gets built is a different thing. And that's fine, that's normal, you expect that, so you build in this wiggle room to account for it. One of the reasons this came out not exactly as expected was, I guess we forgot to do the math on the fact that this wall is actually 2 layers of drywall. So you can actually see how far back the electrical box is tucked here. There's two layers of drywall there, and that's because every wall between units has to have 2 drywall layers for fire safety. So that's gonna be a real long screw for that electrical box, but that's fine. But that means there's basically 3/4 of an inch of space that is taken up by that drywall that we need to account for with the cabinets. So if you look at the cabinet drawing for that wall, here we have the fridge, the 12-inch, the range with the microwave and the upper cabinet above it, and there's supposed to be the 12-inch there with a little bit of filler. So it was a 12-inch with 3 inches of filler, and that means if we have to lose 3/4 of an inch because there's an extra layer of drywall there, it's fine. We can trim the 3-inch filler down to 2 1/4, and everything is fine. So what went wrong? Well, somewhere along the way, this 12-inch cabinet turned into a 15-inch cabinet on the order. So if we go look at the actual cabinet, it is sitting over here. And this is not a 12-inch cabinet. It is, in fact, a 15-inch cabinet. So it just isn't going to fit. We've got the 3 inches too wide of a cabinet, and that is too much to fit there, even though there's supposed to be a 3-inch filler, because 3/4 of that was eaten up by the drywall. So that's a problem. It's not really a good solution to that. I guess we just have to get that cabinet rebuilt at 12 inches. Not entirely sure where the communication broke down there, but I guess it just happens. The unfortunate thing is that this cabinet order was done months ago. So the company has been long done with this order, and they're not expecting us to come back and be like, hey, we got the wrong cabinet size 8 months later or whatever, but we'll figure it out. So that's one problem. As I was in here talking with the contractor about this cabinet, he also had a question about this bedroom. So coming over here in this bedroom, there's, I think I mentioned this at some point. These are all the cabinets for our unit. There's just so many cabinets. Up on the ceiling there's a little bit of that conduit, which is the coolant line for the mini split for this room. And that's because there's a big beam there that we couldn't go through. I don't even remember how it's laid out anymore, but there's photos, and we looked at it in past episodes of this. But it just meant that they had to run the coolant line into the room, so we need to cover it with something. So they were asking, what should we cover it with? And I was like, we really should have thought about this earlier, but I would love to actually have it be a little light shelf. So imagine just a few inches drop down from the ceiling, maybe 8 inches out from the wall, and a shelf all the way across, and then tuck a light strip in there. And then you just get this nice glow. So they're gonna do that. They're actually going to run from that outlet, they're gonna poke a hole above it for a switch, run a wire to that hole for the switch, and then run a wire from there up to the top, and then build that thing out. Great. Okay, no problem. That's totally fine. Where's the problem? Well, on the way into this room, I noticed a spot of water on the floor, which should definitely not be there. It was actually a lot smaller before, but now it's a few hours later, so it got bigger. Spot of water on the floor coming from what appears to be that light hole on the ceiling. Where is that from? So we took a minute to try to figure it out, what could have happened, what got punctured above it. And they figured it out pretty quick, actually. And I haven't even gone upstairs to see it yet, but we're gonna go take a look upstairs to see the source of that leak and see how we're gonna fix it. So let's go ahead and go out the front door of A and into the front door of B. And we have a very loud fan going. Okay, I might have to turn that off for this video. More of cabinets for Unit C sitting in the living room here because there's no room for them anywhere else. Let me try to get up the stairs without hitting my head on this. Okay, well, first let's take a quick look around at Unit B. It's looking pretty good. We've got trim around the windows here as well. They started working on the little soffit for the light strip around this room. It's gonna go all the way around there and all the way to there. And that is also hiding a little bit of coolant line. Let's see if I can get the camera up there so you can see it. There's a little coolant line for that mini split running along in the back of that now, which is a great way to hide it. And it'll look extremely intentional after it's done. But let's go into this bedroom, which is where this fan was blowing. Trying to dry this off. Apparently this is the source of the leak. Looks like it was there. So what happened is there is a pipe very close to the studs here, and when they nailed in the trim, a nail went straight into that pipe, which is why normally you try to put the pipes in the middle so that nails don't go right through. They did put the nailing plate down here, so if you tried to poke a nail through there, it wouldn't hit the pipe, but then this is just too close. So that's the problem. Looks like they already fixed it, so they just did a little cut here, cut there, pinch, and it's back together with a new piece there. So I guess it's gonna be found now and not later because easier to fix it now. But yeah, that caused the drip down into the floor. So hopefully this gets all dried out. But yeah, good to know that that's fixed, and apparently that's the only one because the water's been turned on here as well over the last couple of days, and that's the only one that has started leaking. And now I'm just hoping that none of the wires got punctured either, because man, there's a lot of wires back there too. So cross your fingers. The main one I'm worried about is actually in this room, which is up there. We have that big fat mass of wires coming down. Obviously we're not going to like put any trim or anything up there, but I think what I'm going to ask them to do is put a picture rail up on the wall. And that way, if any tenants want to hang pictures, we can tell them just use the picture rail. Don't run any nails into the wall, because wires don't leak. They just break. That's about it for the drama so far. We will keep you posted on how we fix the cabinets for downstairs, but I think it just is going to have to be ordering a new one and wait for that to come in. Don't know how long that's going to take. In the meantime, all of our cabinets for our unit are sitting in this pile. I think you can see one of the colored panels. Nope, it's too dark in here now. They look so good though. I'm so excited. And yeah, it is looking really good in here with all the trim done. It's starting to feel like a house. Next step's picking tile. We've got paint colors mostly figured out, and we'll be back with an update after we figure that all out. And that's our update for this week. Hopefully we'll be back with more progress soon to show you how we resolve the kitchen, and also to talk about paint colors and tile, which I'm very excited about, and I can't wait to actually show you that. So subscribe and give us a thumbs up, and don't build a triplex.